All right, let's kick things off. For this deep dive, we looked at a note from a listener. Let's call her Judy, 52 years old.
Right.
She checked her savings, saw just $8,000, and, well, she panicked. And that specific fear, you need $1 million to retire, you look at your balance.
And you think, I'm going to be working forever.
Yeah,
It's completely overwhelming.
it really is. And tackling that feeling, that sense of, I started too late, that's job one. We have to get this out there.
Yeah.
Starting your retirement savings journey at 50 or around then, it's not a failure.
Okay, it's actually an opportunity. You have access to some really powerful strategic tools the government allows. Tools younger folks don't even get yet.
And that panic is super common, right? People feel like they're the only ones. Our sources showed the average American by age 50 has only saved about $117,000.
Which sounds like a lot compared to $8,000, but it's still way short of where people think they need to be.
And it's not just a low-income issue either. Something like 78% of people making six figures are still paycheck to paycheck.
Exactly. So the real issue often isn't just the lost time, it's the lack of, like a solid, fundamental plan, an aggressive one.
We're kind of taught, though, that if you didn't start saving in your 20s, you're basically sunk.
Yeah, that's the conventional wisdom, but the data suggests wealth building is more flexible. Think of it like learning a complex skill later in life.
Like learning to drive at 40.
Or pivoting careers, yeah. Plenty of people do it successfully. You just have to be, well, intensely strategic and really willing to use leverage. So we've boiled it down to a high-impact 5-step system specifically for this situation.
Oh yeah, let's dive in. Step one, get the financial foundation right. Crucial.
We hear save, 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 but trying to build on like quicksand.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't work, does it?
No, it won't hold. So the first thing, absolutely non-negotiable, is simple accounting. You need to know exactly what's coming in and, more importantly, what's pouring out.
Finding the leaks.
Finding the money leaks. And 9 times out of 10, maybe more, that leak is high-interest debt.
Credit cards, mostly. Usually.
Yeah.
The average American's carrying about, what, $7,000 in credit card debt? Often at 20%, 25% interest, sometimes even higher.
Ouch.
Yeah. Trying to save, say, 10% of your income while you're paying 25% interest on debt. It's like trying to fill a bucket with huge holes in it.
The interest just wipes out any progress.
It drowns your savings efforts before they even get going.
So the foundation fix starts with literally listing it all out.
Physically list every single debt. Credit
Yeah.
cards, car loans, personal loans, those buy now, pay later things. Everything. Get the full picture.
And once you see it all, how do you decide what to hit first?
Well, you've got two main schools of thought, both psychologically sound. You can go for the smallest balance first, the debt snowball. Gives you quick wins, builds momentum.
Feels good to cross one off the list.
Exactly. Or you can attack the debt with the highest interest rate first at the debt avalanche. That saves you the most money in the long run.
Which is better for a late starter.
Honestly. For someone starting late, tackling anything over, say, 10% interest should be priority 0. Whichever method gets you fired up to kill that high-interest debt faster.
Okay. But what if someone's looking at like 3 or 4 cards all with crazy high interest? Paying them off one by one feels daunting.
It can, absolutely. And that's where debt consolidation comes in. Our sources highlighted this as a potential game changer.
Is that really realistic, though? If you're feeling underwater, can you actually get a good consolidation rate?
It's definitely attainable and worth exploring. We saw that example, Aubrey, right? Paying 22% across multiple cards.
Yeah.
She managed to get a single consolidation loan at 8%, cut her interest rate by almost 2/3.
Wow. And that freed up cash flow.
Instantly freed up $300 a month. And that wasn't from cutting lattes. That was just restructuring the debt. That $300 went straight into her retirement savings. That kind of structural change is often easier than fighting decades of spending habits.
That's a huge lever. Okay, so you start hammering the high interest debt. What about the emergency fund? Do you wait until the debt's gone?
No, that's critical. You don't wait. You have to build a small buffer at the same time, like 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses.
Why concurrently?
Because that emergency fund is your insurance. Your car transmission blows, the furnace dies. You need that cash cushion so you don't immediately reach for a high-interest credit card again.
Right, which would just derail the whole plan.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the sequence is really attack the highest interest debt aggressively, build that buffer simultaneously, and then really ramp up retirement saving while you continue paying off any remaining lower interest debt. Okay, foundation stabilized, fires put out. Now where do we aim? Step 2, setting realistic, flexible retirement goals.
Right. And this is where you got to tune out the noise. Forget the headline screaming, you need $1 million or whatever the number is this week.
Focus on your actual monthly needs.
Your actual needs. Let's assume you're aiming to retire around, say, 67. That gives a late starter 17 years, which is actually decent runway for compounding.
17 years. Okay. So if you factor in Social Security, what kind of savings target are we talking about?
Well, if you're aiming for a fairly modest lifestyle, maybe $4,000 a month total income in retirement, you're probably targeting something in the ballpark of $600,000 to $700,000 saved.
And for a bit more comfort, maybe $6,000 a month.
Yeah, that's when you start pushing towards that $900,000 to $1 million mark. But these goals have to be flexible. Meaning you might need to accept working a bit longer, maybe until 70, or plan on some part-time consulting in early retirement, or
if you're in a super expensive place like California or New York, relocation might be on the table.
it almost has to be considered, yeah. For high cost of living areas, that's a tough conversation, but financially, it could be a massive lever. But even working backward from a somewhat conservative goal, the required savings rate gets pretty aggressive.
How aggressive?
We're likely looking at needing to save somewhere around $2,800 a month. And that's assuming a reasonable, maybe even slightly conservative 7% annual return.
Hold on. $2,800 a month. That sounds like a huge leap for someone starting with $8,000 and living paycheck to paycheck. How is that even possible?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And that's exactly why step 3 is so critical. You can't usually hit that kind of number just by trimming expenses.
You need leverage.
You need serious leverage, and the government actually gives it to you. It's a catch-up superpower for late starters.
Okay, this is where we shift from defense to offense. Once you hit 50.
Boom. The government basically says, okay, you might be behind. Here's a legal way to seriously boost your tax advantage savings.
The contribution limits jump up?
Significantly. For a 401k, the regular limit is $23,000 a year right now, but you get an extra $7,500 catch-up. So $30,500 total you could potentially put in pre-tax.
And for IRAs?
Standard limit is $7,000 plus an extra $1,000 catch-up. So $8,000 total per year. These are big tax advantages, but maximizing those isn't even priority number one.
What is?
The employer match.
Ah, yes, the free money. Remind us why this is the most critical first step. Judy, our listener, was leaving this completely on the table.
Because it is literally an instant guaranteed return.
Yeah.
50%, maybe even 100% return on your money, depending on the match formula. You cannot find that anywhere else.
Nowhere.
In Judy's case, her company matched 50 cents on the dollar up to 6% of her $65,000 salary. By not contributing enough to get the full match, she was actively saying no thanks to $1,950 of free money every year.
Just grabbing that match. What does that do over 17 years?
Just the match alone, compounded, is projected to add over $200,000 to her nest egg. That's without her saving an extra dime beyond what's needed for the match. It's passive, free money doing the heavy lifting.
Okay, so match first, always. Then, if Judy starts contributing more, say 10% of her salary.
Projections put her around $300,000 saved. If she can get really aggressive, push it to 20%.
Which the catch-up contributions help enable.
Exactly. Then she's projected to clear $500,000. That's the kind of power needed to make that $2,800 monthly savings goal seem less impossible. So the action list is clear then. 1, max out that employer match, whatever it takes. Absolutely, step 1.
Aggressively wipe out any debt over 10% interest.
Step 2, get rid of the leaks.
Use those catch-up contributions. Shovel as much as you possibly can into your 401k or IRA after the match and high-interest debt are handled. That's the sequence. Nail those 3. Okay, so once the money is flowing into the right accounts. Step 4, avoid traps and invest strategically.
Because once people actually get some capital saved up, especially late starters, some dangerous mindsets can creep in, right?
Oh, definitely. 2 deadly mistakes we see all the time. Mistake number 1, the home run mentality. I'm behind. I got to double my money fast.
Exactly. That panic leads people to chase penny stocks or volatile crypto coins or some hot tip from their brother-in-law. That's how you turn $30,000 into $8,000 real quick.
You don't need home runs. You need singles. Consistent singles, year after year after year. Boring is beautiful in long-term investing.
Okay, what's the flip side? Deadly mistake number 2.
The ultra-conservative approach. Being so terrified of losing money that you stick everything in a savings account or maybe CDs.
So you feel safe.
Feel safe, but it guarantees you lose purchasing power over 15, 17 years. Inflation just eats it away. That strategy is fine if you've already got your millions and you're just preserving it. But a late starter, you are still very much in the accumulation phase. You need growth.
So with that 15, 17-year timeline, how should you actually allocate the money? It needs to grow, but there's less time to recover from a big crash.
You're still firmly in growth territory. The recommendation is typically something like a 70% stock, 30% bond allocation, maybe 60-40 depending on risk tolerance.
So still fairly aggressive.
More aggressive than someone retiring next year, absolutely. But it's necessary to capture the market's typical long-term growth. You need that engine working for you.
And should people be paying for fancy advisors or complex funds?
No. Keep it simple. You absolutely cannot afford the 1% or 2% drag from high fees charged by many advisors and active fund managers. Low-cost index funds are your friend.
Like a total stock market index?
Yeah, a total U.S. stock market index fund, maybe an international index fund for diversification, and a broad bond market index fund. Super cheap, super diversified. The goal isn't to beat the market, it's just to be the market, cheaply. Simple is usually best here.
Got it. Okay, which brings us to the fuel for all this saving and investing. Step 5, lifestyle optimization and income acceleration. This is where some tough choices might come in.
Yeah, some hard truths. And we're not talking about skipping your daily coffee here. That's small potatoes. We need big leveraged wins.
A lifestyle audit, basically.
Right.
Looking at the major expenses.
Exactly. Like the average car payment in the U.S. now is around $750 a month. That's a huge chunk of cash flow tied up in a depreciating asset.
Okay, but saying sell the expensive car is easy. Doing it, that's a big emotional hurdle for a lot of people.
It is. But you have to justify it with the math. Sell the fancy SUV, drive a reliable, maybe slightly older, $15,000 used car instead. What does that free up? Often $400, $500, maybe more per month.
And that difference invested.
That extra $400 a month, consistently invested over 15 years, that could grow to nearly $180,000. You're trading some current comfort or status for significant future security.
It helps to frame it that way. That's why we suggest a future self-test. Before you make any significant purchase, say over $200, stop and ask yourself, will my 70-year-old self thank me for buying this? Or will they wish I'd invested that money instead? That's a powerful mental check. Okay, that's optimizing expenses. What about the other side? Income.
Crucial. Especially because in your 50s, you are likely in your peak earning years. You have decades of experience, specialized skills.
Monetize that expertise.
Absolutely. Negotiate that raise, go for that promotion, or, and this can be huge, start a side hustle. A consulting gig based on the skills you already have. Don't go drive for Uber for minimum wage. Leverage your high-value skills.
The example in the source about the teacher tutoring, that really hit home.
Yeah, the teacher charging, say, $80 for a 50-minute tutoring session. If they just did 4 extra hours a week,
4 hours. Manageable.
totally manageable. It's an extra $1,280 a month. Invest that consistently over 15 or 17 years. That side hustle alone could generate over $500,000 for retirement. That's the power of accelerating income based on what you already know.
Incredible. Okay, we've covered the 5 steps. Foundation, goals, catch-up, investing, lifestyle income. What's the final piece?
The final piece of the puzzle, maybe the ultimate strategic lever, especially for a late starter, is optimizing Social Security.
Because your private savings might be smaller, Social Security becomes a bigger slice of the retirement pie.
Exactly. You need to maximize it. And the key here is understanding the power of delaying benefits.
The 8% advantage.
That's it. For every single year, you delay taking Social Security past your full retirement age, which varies slightly depending on your birth year, but it's around 67 for most people now up to age 70. Your benefit increases by 8%.
Guaranteed 8% increase.
Guaranteed for life. Think about that. Waiting just 3 extra years from, say, 67 to 70 could be the difference between a monthly benefit of $2,000 and one of $2,600.
That's $600 extra every month.
Every month for the rest of your life. Over a 20-year retirement, that adds up to an extra $150,000 in guaranteed inflation-adjusted income.
So the strategy is, use your 401k or IRA savings to bridge the gap. Live off those from, say, 67 to 70 while you let Social Security grow.
That's the bridge strategy. Let your own savings cover those first few years of retirement so you can lock in that much larger lifelong Social Security benefit. It's a hugely powerful move for late starters.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, for Judy, for anyone listening who felt that initial panic looking at their balance in their 50s, it's not game over.
Absolutely not. Starting at 50 is not a death sentence for your retirement dreams. You have time, but you have to be more aggressive. You have to be more strategic. You have to be intensely intentional in a way someone starting at 25 doesn't need to be.
Use the levers. The match, the catch-up, the debt consolidation, the income acceleration, delaying Social Security.
All of it. And maybe here's a final thought for you to chew on this week, building on that Social Security point.
Okay, we just talked about how delaying Social Security for 3 years could net you an extra $600 a month for life, essentially $150,000 over 20 years. That's a guaranteed 8% annual return from the government. Now think about this. Apart from getting your employer match, what other investment could you make, or what side hustle could you realistically start that provides that level of guaranteed lifelong income increase? That's a tough comparison.
It really puts into perspective the power of being strategic with the resources and the systems like Social Security that are already available to you. It's not always about finding some magic bullet investment. Sometimes it's about smartly playing the hand you've already been dealt.